Welcome back to my channel. It's Christopher Taylor with Sovereign Harmony Astrology. We're going to go over the month of March 2026 here, the third month of the year already. List of what is coming up this month. It's a pretty heavy month, to be sure. It's a lot very Pisces heavy. So Pisces is all about endings, and so it really is about clearing, completion, and reorientation. That's really the themes of this month, and we'll kind of go through these one by one in clusters. We're going to start the month with lunar eclipse in Virgo. So we're in between eclipses right now. Today is Wednesday, February 25th. As I'm speaking, Mercury is about to turn retrograde later tonight. If you're on the East Coast or Central Time, that'll be early morning on Thursday, but here late night on the West Coast tonight. So we'll talk about Mercury turning direct here on the 20th, but it is turning retrograde here this week as we approach the 1st of March. So when this lunar eclipse happens, we will be in Mercury retrograde for sure. But anyway, so we had our eclipse back on February 17th. That was the solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Aquarius, just before Saturn and Neptune joined at 0 degrees Aries for their conjunction, their major conjunction there. And now we're going to close out eclipse season with this lunar eclipse in Virgo. So it's at about 13 degrees or so of Virgo if we round up, and it's right on that south node. So this is an eclipse of release and let go. All the personal planets have been moving through Pisces. We've got Mars will just enter Pisces just before this lunar eclipse. Okay, we've had Venus, Mercury, Sun, and Mars. So all four of those personal planets all in Pisces at the time of this moon, and we just had Neptune leave Pisces where it was from 2011 up until just like a month ago, and Saturn was in Pisces for 3 years from 2023 till just a little, just a few weeks ago. And so they're fresh out of Pisces. They've done their damage, etc. And so you can think of these personal planets as kind of cleaning up. So this is that clearing and cleaning energy. And the theme of Virgo is very much about separating the wheat from the chaff. It's very much about purification, cleanliness. Okay. And so what this tells me is that we're going through this like I've been calling this Mercury retrograde in Pisces like a Roomba. Okay, so like you just set the Roomba, let it go, kind of finds the dirt, finds the remaining dust that needs to be cleared up from this like demolition that essentially happened with Saturn and Neptune in Pisces all these number of years. And so we're really cleaning up the chapter. And so we're going to be reorienting our focus on a little bit of the past here with this Mercury retrograde in Pisces, because just for the purpose of making sure we get all the everything cleaned up that needs to get cleaned up so that we can move forward with this Aries energy, because all these personal planets, they're going to be heading into Aries here, starting in March and then heading into April, and they're all going to be, joining Saturn and Neptune at Aries as well. So it really is about getting things moving. So we've got to clear out and get rid of the baggage essentially. So what this Virgo lunar eclipse is doing is saying, hey, we did a lot of work these last number of years. There's a lot of residue. Let's get rid of any of the residue that we do not need, and let's integrate what we can use. Okay, kind of like if you're rummaging through an old attic or garage or something. Sometimes you find something useful, right? And so that's what this really speaks of, is we're going to get rid of most of the junk, but if we find something useful, we'll integrate it. And so this Virgo lunar eclipse really is making sure we streamline, lighten our load, streamline, and focus on really what we could take forward and release everything else. So it is kind of like a rummage sale in a lot of ways. So we could feel that release pretty strongly. I was born on a lunar eclipse in Virgo myself, so this is kind of my home energy, I guess, in a way. But collectively, we will all be experiencing this sense of cleaning out our garage, cleaning out our attic, and finding those gems and keeping them and getting rid of most of it, right? And then here's Jupiter getting pulled in. So Jupiter is going to be a strong theme. Jupiter in Cancer, it will turn direct on March 10th, which I'll get to here in a second. And it's involved. This lunation is actually going to form a sextile to that Jupiter in Cancer just before it turns direct. So Jupiter's been retrograde in Cancer, kind of going through the past, so it's very reminiscent of this theme of going through our closet, going through our attic, our garage, whatever it may be. And, we've done enough of that. And when Jupiter turns direct, it's like we really want to start moving forward. So next on the list, we'll talk about that. Jupiter direct in Cancer at 15 degrees. That'll be on March 10th. And the whole month, because Mercury is retrograde, it's going to be in and out of a trine to Jupiter in Cancer. Okay. And that started actually here like last week, and it'll last all the way through March into early April. And so it's a background theme, and it kind of set the stage for the other personal planets, Venus, the Sun, Mars, that are all going to be making this trine to Jupiter. Venus actually just made the trine to Jupiter here early this week. So I think it was on like February 22nd, 23rd. Uh, Venus was trine Jupiter, but we're going to have the Sun do it. We're going to have Mars do it as well. So it's a background theme. So we look at it there. So there's Jupiter. It's turning direct pretty much on the midheaven, at least where I am. So that's on the West Coast. And the ruler of Cancer is the moon. The ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter. So we have this mutual reception here. So as Jupiter turns direct, the moon, which is its depositor, is in the sign it rules. Okay. So moon and Sag and Cancer are very different energies. Cancer is all about the past. Sagittarius is all about the future. So there is, again, like I alluded to before, there's a sense that like we're finishing up a chapter here, and this line between the past and the future is being drawn here in mid-March. So we're essentially dropping the past and embracing the future that is coming at us. And of course, Mercury retrograde gets pulled in there as well. And with the Jupiter trine, like I said, it's an ongoing trine, and we can see the personal planets like the Sun and Mars here still in Pisces at that time, where Venus has moved into Aries by the time we get to March 10th in that direct motion of Jupiter. Next on the list, we got the new moon in Pisces, 28 degrees, very end of Pisces. So it's like the ending of the ending sign. And just a couple days before, that'll be just a couple days before the equinox and when Mercury turns direct. But we'll split those into two. But it really is all happening in a small number of days at that time. So here it is, new moon, sun, moon, 28 degrees Pisces. And they're close enough in orbit to both Saturn and Neptune in Aries that we can kind of look at that as like bridging the gap between, again, what we're finishing, cleaning it up, and what we're about to embrace here with this Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries and all the personal planets that are about to engage with it. And this new moon is essentially engaging with it, but in a way that it's kind of honoring the past and what we're letting go, the finality of it, right before the equinox hits and all the personal planets start moving through Aries and joining that area. And then Jupiter is the traditional ruler of Pisces, so I highlighted that as well. So again, Jupiter comes into play. It's Jupiter in Cancer. It's stationary essentially most of the month, but is technically turning direct on the 10th at 15 degrees Cancer, and so it's a heavy theme along with the Mercury retrograde for the entire month of March. And so this, again, I'm looking at this as the start of the new by, again, honoring everything from the past, but we're essentially launching into the new at that new moon. Then finally, we've got the equinox, which happens every year around March 20th, but it doesn't happen every year with Mercury turning direct on the same day. It's just with hours apart. So there's that Mercury. It'll turn direct at about 8 degrees on March 20th. There's the Sun in Aries. Okay, Mars, ruler of Aries. That at that time will be forming its trine to Jupiter. Like I said, Mercury kind of sets the stage. It's in and out of a trine with Jupiter the whole month. But the other personal planets are making their trine one at a time. And it'll be at that equinox, essentially, when Mars is about to form its trine to Jupiter. So it'll come in probably like a day or two later. Okay. But now we see the Sun in Aries. It's going to hit Neptune, going to hit Saturn. Okay. And so following the footsteps of Venus, which is kind of leading the way early in the month of March. So really the first 3 weeks of March, a lot of clearing, a lot of completion. Okay. And reorientation, because this North Node in Pisces as well, all those personal planets are crossing that as well, reorienting us to the future. And like I alluded to before, Jupiter is kind of that line of demarcation. When it turns direct, we're really switching from like that Cancerian energy to that more Sag energy, that Jupiter rules. So we're cutting a line, drawing a line in the sand between the past and the future. And we can't really do that unless we rummage through our old stuff. Take what's useful and get rid of the rest of it. So that really sums up the month of March. The last 10 days of March or so will be some forward motion, but the first 3 weeks or so, we're really cleaning up, turning the corner, really contemplating what we've learned and how we can apply that to the future. And then we're saying our last goodbyes essentially to that Pisces energy with that new moon, and then we're just heading direct Mercury and moving all those personal planets into Aries at that point. So clearing, completion, reorientation, those are the themes for the month of March. Thank you for joining me. If you want to get more frequent updates, I do weekly updates on here as well, whether you're watching this on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is. Do follow me on the other platforms as well, TikTok as well. And I do my daily, written posts throughout the week as well, so you get more information that way. But this is a good summary of the month of March. We will talk to you next month, and in between that, I will be in for my weeklies and my dailies as well. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon.